Happy Saturday. I just had someone on X call me a grifter. I wish I was a grifter. I might get something in return other than abuse on a daily basis. I am definitely not putting myself up for ridicule for no benefit to grift anything. I put myself up for ridicule because I care about this country and I'm deeply concerned, and I feel quite useless in not knowing what else to do other than come on here and occasionally email my MP for that. Anyway, two things we're all constantly talking about, and I wish that if I turned on the radio tomorrow I would never hear mentioned again. One, the threat of Islamist terrorism and Islamist ideology, and the threat of the political ideology of Islam. You know, and people think somehow the UK is very different to the likes of Afghanistan or Iraq or anywhere else that was a very peaceful, happy, modern, westernized, if you want to call it that, happy, cohesive country where women were free, went to uni, had their hairs down, played sports, you know. And then in the 70s, for example, in Afghanistan, the Islamification happened and all that changed. So, you know, I wish that wasn't a subject of concern in this country, but it is. And the other thing I wish we didn't have to talk about ever again was the nonsense of net zero. Every day, the damage it's causing, the eradication of our day-to-day lives and the ability to afford to do anything or have any food or energy security or any industry for that matter. So those two things, I pray every day, I turn on the radio and they're not mentioned, and instead radio hosts and governments are instead talking about business and education and health and, you know, the usual things that governments are supposed to spend their time on. More guinea pig food, more bird food. And then finally, I just put a poll up saying, do you think the decline of Britain is directly correlated to the decline in Britishness? And I say that in many ways, whether you look at demographics in London or whether it's little things like the eradication of our culture from red telephone boxes being taken away and replaced with ugly glass things that are generally broken or defaced, or whether it's the attack on things like hunting, fox hunting, which I know some people don't like, but again, it's been a tradition in this country for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Very British, you know, you see paintings going back eons and there's the people in their red coats running across the countryside with the hounds behind them, and that's been eradicated. And they have drag racing now where no animal is hurt, but it keeps some business for the hounds and doesn't get them all cold. But the government is still going after that because they talk about animal rights, even though no animal's hurt. And at the same time, they are pushing and enabling halal and kosher slaughter. So that doesn't make much sense, does it? But again, it's eradicating something British, or whether it's not having your Easter celebrations in schools because, you know, you don't want to offend anyone with our centuries-old traditions. Anyway, running as ever. Keep doing whatever makes you feel sane, and have a good weekend.